Have you ever had trouble with social media? You know, somebody making a comment, somebody being maybe rude or disrespectful, maybe even at times it feels a little bit hurtful. Well, today I want to talk about social media manners. I want to talk about how probably the best way would be for us to all communicate on social media. And particularly what I want to look at is what I want to talk about is the 4 C's, or what I think of as the 4 comments. 2 of them healthy, constructive, build relationships. 2 of them not so much. So if you want to know more about how we can all have better media manners, then stick around. Thank you so much for joining our gathering. I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about manners. Well, the other day, you may have seen it in my feed on the Gathering of Good People, our Facebook page. I put a post, and the post was really about kind of a scary statistic that came out of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. And I basically wanted to open up some conversation to get some dialogue going, because what the research was showing was that over the last 10 years, suicides for 10 to 14-year-olds was tripling. Super scary for me. So I wanted to start a dialogue and kind of find out from people what they thought was going on. And in the discussions that were happening, most of them were pretty positive. Most of them were pretty supportive. Kind of everybody sharing ideas. Well, at one point, I thought I would kind of follow up that post and add an extra post. And the post was really reflecting what a lot of people were saying, which was media. It seems like media is the key factor that's made this huge jump in suicidality with our kids. So I put a post in, why? Why do you think, if you think media is playing a role, why do you think it is? Well, at that point, a gentleman chimes in, and I'm just going to call him the dude. The dude chimes in, and he says, where's your data? And so I refer him back. I refer him back to the former feed that we were doing, the former post up from the CDC, just to kind of give him some context of what we're thinking about. And I said, hey, what's your input? What do you think? He chimes back in again. This CDC study doesn't say anything about how media is creating this. This is more of a just kind of a statement of fact. And I said, yeah, you're right, absolutely. But what we're trying to do is trying to figure out what's changed. And most people are kind of pointing to and noticing media. Media has changed. What do you think? Well, he fires back one more time. He says, this is so inappropriate. You know, we have a social obligation to people. You should not be posting like this because you have no hard, concrete evidence that's showing media. So you shouldn't even be talking about this. Ouch. Really? Now, I don't think his opinion's wrong. I don't think that what he was saying wasn't true for him. But what I was trying to do in the post was create a conversation, create a dialogue, create communication going. And I didn't care he didn't agree. I don't want him to agree. I don't want anybody to necessarily take somebody else's opinion if that's not their opinion. But my hope, you know what I wanted, really, was to create a dialogue, to create communication, to create a conversation. And I really wanted to hear his thoughts and ideas about what he thought was going on with what I see as a very, very serious issue. Children dying. To me, it doesn't get more serious than that. But what happened instead is that we got into a right fight. You know what a right fight is? Have you ever been in a right fight? I'm going to bet you have, because it's my belief that all fights are right fights. Anytime we get in a disagreement with anybody, lovers, spouses, friends, neighbors, strangers, I suspect most of the time that it's a right fight. And what a right fight is basically a conversation that, instead of talking about the issue or talking about what's going on or talking about our feelings or where we're coming from, sharing our hearts or opening up and connecting with one another. Instead of any of that happening, what tends to happen is we get locked into a discussion, not about the topic, but about a secondary issue. And the secondary issue is who's right and who's wrong. That's a right fight. And what we really need to be talking about, what we really want to be talking about, gets shelved. So this little comment going back and forth on Facebook was a perfect example. Instead of us focusing on the issue, children dying, we got stuck. We got stuck on the issue of, was it appropriate for me to make a comment? Or was it appropriate for me to engage in a conversation with people about what they thought regarding how social media may be one of the key factors in creating this problem? Well, that wasn't the topic anymore. And what became the topic was who was right and who was wrong. Now, the problem with it, I hope you can already see, is that there's no way out. There's no way for any of us to make a connection, because the agenda isn't about connection. The agenda isn't about sharing ideas. The agenda is about proving that there's one person that's right and there's going to be one person that's wrong. So even if I tried to say, hey, here's another study. In fact, so funny, the following day, Utah put out a study, a Center for Health and Wellness put out a study about teens, depression, media, all of that stuff, and drug use as well, and put out a study and said, yeah, here's the numbers. Everything is on the rise. Lucky for Utah, drugs, particularly alcohol, is really on the decline, but depression, anxiety, mental illness, mental health, and media, social media, time on the phones, things like that, are all on the rise. So even if I can send this information back and say, hey, here's some more data for you, what do you think? It won't get addressed because it's not about that anymore. It's about, was I appropriate or was I not appropriate? Now, in an ideal situation, I could probably humble myself. Not even probably, I would humble myself. Hey, don't want to fight, don't want to conflict, don't want to disagree. So you're totally right. My post was wrong. I shouldn't have put that up there. I shouldn't have made that a conversation. That was probably inappropriate for me to talk about that kind of stuff. My bad. I think that would have been a bit disingenuous, but in the name of peace, haven't we all done that? Come on, haven't we? And the ideal situation, if we're pretending here, thinking about what the ideal could be, he would write back, oh, no, my bad. I'm in a bad place. I'm in a bad situation, or this is something that's really upsetting me, blah, blah, blah. I'm so sorry. I was wrong to tell you. You were wrong. That would be nice. Likelihood of that happening for us, probably pretty low. But follow this logic for a minute. Even if we did, even if both of us said, oh, no, I'm wrong. No, forgive me. The conversation still can't go on. Why? Because the conversation at that point has been locked into good guys and bad guys. If I now go into it and start pushing, well, what do you think of my idea? What do you think of what I'm saying? What do you think of social media and how it's affecting suicide? It would make me look like a total jerk. It would make me look like I'm disrespecting him, because now he's already stated where he's at and we've kind of apologized, kissed, and made up. But now if I jump back into it and I start pushing it again, I'm looking like a jerk because now I'm pushing him to go against what he just said and where he's at. So even in the ideal situation, when we go into a right fight, when we get into this issue about who's right and who's wrong, it's a lose-lose. So let's talk a little bit about what would be more helpful, what would be more useful, right? I break it down into four, I call it the 4 comments or the 4 C's because they all start with C. And the 4 C's are really simply like this. Chit chat, which is one kind of comment. Hey, that's kind of cool. I like that. Thank you. That kind of stuff. Thumbs up. Awesome. That's level 1. Level 2 would be what I call real communication. I'm sharing from my heart. Oh, I had a loss in my family, or I was just dealing with a kid down the street that was feeling suicidal. I'm sharing from my own heart, my own experience, from my own truths. That's the second level. The third level we've talked about is called correcting. Correcting somebody. Here, the agenda isn't to share or even to make an easy comment. The agenda here is to correct. I think what you said was stupid. I think what you said was wrong. The fourth, the last one, which kind of escalates out of the correcting, is called the combative. And in the combative style, what happens is that I've been hurt, I feel wronged, and now I'm going to hurt you. It's not even about right and wrong at this point. I just want to hurt you. I want to say comments like, that was stupid, or you're stupid. That's probably even more of a combative comment. You're an idiot. I wish you would commit suicide. What? Unfortunately, those kind of comments go on all the time. That is more in the combative phase. And I really think it's coming from a place of great pain. Even though it sounds super angry, anger is always a secondary emotion. I think when we're in the combative phase with anybody, we're in a lot of pain. And because we're in a lot of pain, we want to inflict pain. It's not a good place, and I'm not justifying it, but it's just kind of that's where it's coming from. So what I want to suggest as we talk about the manners that we need to have on social media, what I want to suggest is that we chit chat with each other, you know, keep it light, keep it easy, keep it fun, just a light connection. Or we share our truths with one another. We communicate with one another, our own experiences, our own feelings. And again, it could be anything. If, for example, if the dude totally disagreed with me, that's totally appropriate. And his comments were spot on. I was making a connection that he didn't agree with. He has every right to disagree with it. But what if it sounded like this? What if his comments were, Brett, I tend to not see it that way. Or I tend to get a little bit nervous when people make connections or make statements and there's not a lot of hard data that kind of supports their statements. It could be seen as misleading, and I really have an issue with media misleading people. And I just don't feel like that's right to mislead people. So I have my reservations about your comment. Okay. I can hear that. Because what he's sharing, the dude's sharing, is himself. The dude's sharing his own feelings, his own truth, his own reality. I gotta respect him for that. I gotta respect anybody for that. And that's where I feel like our etiquette should really stay focused, is on sharing your truth as your truth. I think everybody should have the right. This is America, right? Everybody should have the right to believe whatever they believe and to think whatever they think and to share whatever they want to share. I think the key difference in creating good social media manners is that we own it. That we own it is our truth. And we speak our truth and not speaking other people's truth or telling other people what's true for them. Because that's when we start to correct other people. And that's when we start to offend other people. And that's when we create a right fight. That's not going to work. Connecting, yes, that's what we want. That's hopefully what social media is all about, creating connection. A little bit of a self-plug. Apologize for that. But if you want to learn more, if you want to get some more information, this is the only place I know to refer you to. I wrote a book a few years back called You Can Be Right or You Can Be Married. And we talk about the 4 C's in here. And that's really the only and the best place I can think of to refer you back if you want some more information. So, sorry about the self-plug. Hate that. Also, if you want to join the conversation, let me also plug, and I can plug this a little easier because it's not plugging me, plug our gathering of goodpeople.com. Because it's really my belief that life is better together, that we are better together. And I really want us to all come together and support each other, encourage each other as we disconnect in the world because of our technology. I would love to see us use technology, like in the gathering, to create a connection again. It's a different kind of connection for sure, but I want to create a connection with you, and I want you to be able to connect with others, because I really do think life is better together. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your comments. Do you think I'm full of, well, don't say that, but share your comments about, your truth, where you are. And again, you can share anything you want, as long as I want you to talk about you. So make a comment about how you're feeling, where you're at, if you've ever gotten in a right fight, or if you have ever been able to really share and make a connection. I want to hear those kind of comments. Again, I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and thank you so much for joining our gathering. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.